Hello, scholars. Welcome to Balto of the Blue Dawn, our next great, exciting read for literature class. We are today going to be focusing on chapter 1, but we do have a couple of activities to do before chapter 1. Some before reading, like pre-reading, and there's also a little prologue that we're going to look at, but we will also then jump into chapter 1 today. Let's get started. So first, some opening work before we even begin the reading. Hi, readers. This is the packet that we're going to be using throughout our reading of Balto of the Blue Dawn. We're going to kind of go piece by piece through parts of this together, and then parts of this will be what you're working on your own. So let's take a quick look at page 2, right, before reading. So before we get into the reading, we're going to make sure we take a moment to look at this. So I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. First, take a look at the pre-reading. It says, look at the cover and the illustrations throughout the book. Make a prediction of what you think this book might be about. So take a moment, right? Look at the cover. You can flip through, right? See some illustrations, right? Take a moment to do that. You can press pause for a second. Check that out. And then make a prediction of what you think this book might be about. I think this book, look at how I'm using questions, right? Think this book might be about. And then, scholars, I'm going to have you pause for a minute and finish that. Right now, don't just write Balto, right? Because Balto's in the title. So that'd be a pretty good assumption. But try to give a little bit more to that, right? What about Balto? If you've read it before, right, as might have happened, you could write, what do you remember this book being about? That would be okay. Then, scholars, remember, press pause and finish that if you'd like, right now. Then, looking at the bottom part of page 2, connect. Have you ever read any other books from the Magic Treehouse series? If so, what do you remember about them? So if you haven't, right, you could write, I have not read any, or I have read a couple of them, right? What do you remember about them? Right? So it's okay if you haven't read any to say, like, I have not read any of them. But if you have, right, tell me something you remember about them, something that you recall. That's taking care of this part. Scholars, press pause and finish that. Then we're going to continue on in these slides. Hi, readers. This is the packet that we're going to be using through. So here are vocabulary words that we are going to be reading today in chapter 1. Summon. Summon means to call someone urgently to be present. So if I summon you to a meeting with me, right, I'm calling you to a meeting with me. If we were back in the building and I summon you to my desk, right, I'm calling you to my desk to talk with you. Territory. A territory is an organized division of a country that is not yet admitted to the full rights of a state. So in our reading today, right, we're going to hear about the Alaska Territory. It's not yet the state of Alaska, but it's land that is a part of the United States, but is not yet a state. As an example, before Minnesota became a state, it and Wisconsin, Illinois, and a couple other states were actually a large territory called the Northwest Territory. Word 3 is enchanted. If you're enchanted, you're placed under a spell. right? You're bewitched. So enchanted has to do with magic, right? If the sword is enchanted, right? It's placed under a spell, it's bewitched, it's magical, enchanted. And number 4, vast. Vast, a very great extent or quantity, immense, right? Huge, large. If you have a vast amount of space, right? You have a very large space. If you have a vast amount of tacos, you have many, many tacos. Vast. Scholars, you are going to need the word vast in part of your packet work today. So remember, if you're having trouble with it, come back and look at this slide again. All right. Opening your book to the prologue, page 1. One summer day in Frog Creek, Pennsylvania, a mysterious treehouse appeared in the woods. It was filled with books. A boy named Jack and his sister Annie found the treehouse and soon discovered that it was magic. They could go to any time and place in history just by pointing to a picture in one of the books. While they were gone, no time at all passed back in Frog Creek. Jack and Annie eventually found out that the treehouse belonged to Morgan Le Fay, a magical librarian from the legendary realm of Camelot. They have since traveled on many adventures in the magic treehouse and completed many missions for both Morgan Le Fay and her friend Merlin the magician. Teddy and Kathleen, two young enchanters from Camelot, have sometimes helped Jack and Annie in both big and small ways. Jack and Annie are about to find out what their next Magic Treehouse mission will be. So, scholars, that gives us a prologue, right? A little intro in case you have not read any of the Magic Treehouse stories before. Let's take a look at the after the prologue question. To whom does the Magic Treehouse belong? So, if we're going to use words from the question, right? The Magic Treehouse belongs to. Do you remember? Are you looking back in your text? Who did we just hear it belongs to? Did you say Morgan Le Fay? Morgan Le Fay. And we could probably even tie this second question, where is this person from? What if we just said, this magic treehouse belongs to Morgan Le Fay from Camelot? We've answered both parts in one good sentence. Nice job, scholars. Press pause for a moment if you need to finish that. All right, now, scholars, you need to pause this video and click the video in the post. That's a video just of listening to me read chapter 1, or press pause on this video and read chapter 1 with someone in your family or to yourself. Do not continue this video until after you have read or listened to chapter 1. The next work after this is response to the work from chapter 1. Press pause now. All right, if you are listening again, you have finished either listening to or reading chapter 1, and are ready for our work. All right, this one's a little tricky. We have not had a chance in distance learning to talk about point of view. Which point of view is this story written? First person or third person? First person point of view means you are one of the characters, right? You're the one telling the story. It's from your point of view. Third person is like the story's being narrated to you, told about other people. So, scholars, I'm helping you out on this one. It is a third person point of view. And words that would help us with that, right, are words like he, she, they, them, their. So if it was a first person account, right, it'd be words like I, my, we, us, right, where you're a part of it, right? You're telling the story, you're the one saying it. But these pronouns, right, it's someone other than you, right? He did this, she said that, they went there, this belongs to them, right? Their car, right? So it's not about you, it's about others. Third person point of view, right? Go ahead, copy that down if you haven't yet. Remember, when you have work time on your assignment, make sure you go back to this part too. Don't forget to come back and do characters and setting. Looking at the cause and effect. Remember, the effect is what happened. The cause is why it happened. So in this case, right, on page 5 of our packet, we're being told what happened. We're being given the effect. The treehouse started spinning. Then everything was still. So if you think about what was happening there in chapter 1, right, that's what happened at the end. Now think, why did the treehouse start spinning and then everything went still, right? So what caused the treehouse to spin and then for everything to go still? So looking back at the end of the chapter, right, I am noticing, right before it started to spin and then everything went still, I'm on page 12 and I'm noticing Annie pointed at the cover of the travel guide. So that's why, right? Remember, when they do that, it causes something to happen. Annie pointed at the cover of the guide and, right, and wished to go to the Alaska Territory, right? So that caused the treehouse to then start spinning and for everything to go still, right? If you're still writing that, maybe take a quick moment, press pause so you can get the rest of that written. Remember, you also want to make sure you go back when we're completely finished Take care of this vocabulary with the word vast and a synonym for vast. Remember, synonym means same meaning. And then also make sure you connect. Those are parts that you're going to make sure you're doing on your own. All right then, scholars, your homework now is to finish the chapter 1 work in your packet. Remember, that means you're going to submit photos of 3 pictures today. Pages 3, 4, and 5 in your packet. That is the graded assignment. So be sure you are sending photos of pages 3, 4, and 5 with all the parts complete. We did some of the parts together just now in this video. You need to go back and take care of the rest of those questions. Then submit the photos. Thanks for joining me.